Lead is a naturally occurring element found in small amounts in the Earth's crust. While it has some beneficial uses, it is toxic to humans and animals if it's swallowed or inhaled. Lead was used for many years in products including paint, pipes, and plumbing materials, ceramics, gasoline, batteries, ammunition, and cosmetics. Because of these uses, lead can be found in all parts of our environment: the air, the soil, drinking water, and even inside our homes. The Army's goal is to prevent human exposure to lead hazards and to comply with all federal and state regulations regarding lead. Lead can affect almost every organ and system in the body. Even low levels of lead in children can result in behavior and learning problems, hyperactivity, and slowed growth. Higher levels can result in hearing problems, tiredness, and shortness of breath, and in rare cases, seizures, coma, and even death. Children's mental and physical development occurs rapidly, putting them at greater risk of the health effects of lead exposure. Very young children are at the most risk of lead exposure because they tend to put their hands or other objects which may be covered with lead-contaminated dust or soil into their mouths. In 1978, the federal government banned consumer uses of lead-containing paint. Lead from paint, including lead-contaminated dust, is one of the most common causes of lead exposure. Lead-contaminated paint is not a hazard if it's contained under other coats of paint that are intact and undisturbed. It is only when lead-contaminated paint deteriorates or becomes exposed, releasing chips that contaminate surface dust and soil, that it becomes a significant hazard. The Army presumes all houses built before 1978 contain lead-contaminated paint, even though they may not. The 1986 Safe Drinking Water Act amendments banned the use of lead pipe, flux, and solder. The Reduction of Lead in Drinking Water Act of 2011 established a lower lead content requirement for plumbing fixtures. The Army's goal is to prevent human exposure to lead hazards and to comply with all federal and state regulations regarding lead. The Army continues to test for lead in accordance with the Safe Drinking Water Act, the Lead and Copper Rule of 1991, and the Clean Air Act, along with equivalent host nation requirements at foreign locations. In 2016, out of an abundance of caution, U.S. Army Installation Management Command, or IMCOM, went above the minimum requirement and proactively began sampling for lead in drinking water in 100% of all Army-owned and leased housing. Army installations must inform all new tenants of Army family housing about lead hazards in their units. Installations and contractors must also provide information to the present tenants of housing units where renovations may disturb lead-contaminated paint. You can take steps to reduce your risk for exposure to lead. Read and save the information on potential lead hazards that was given to you in moving in. Make sure your child does not have access to peeling paint or painted surfaces they could chew. Immediately report peeling paint and water damage to housing maintenance. If a family member is potentially exposed to lead in their work environment, like at a firing range, take additional precautions to reduce the potential of lead exposure to other family members. Remove work clothes prior to entering the home and wash them separately. Vigorously wash skin surfaces that may have come in contact with lead-contaminated dust or materials. Keep your home clean and dust-free, particularly around painted areas where friction can generate dust, such as doors, windows, and drawers. Wipe these areas frequently with a wet sponge or rag to remove paint chips or dust. Wash children's hands, bottles, pacifiers, and toys often. The longer that water sits unused in pipes, the greater the chance that increased lead levels may occur. When drinking or cooking with water from your tap, it's a good idea to run the tap on cold for 1 or 2 minutes to decrease potential lead levels. Ensure that your family members eat well-balanced meals. Children with diets rich in calcium and iron will absorb less lead. Take off your shoes when entering the house to prevent bringing lead-contaminated soil in from outside. Prevent children from playing in the soil near your home. If possible, provide them with sandboxes. If you think your child has been in contact with lead, schedule an appointment with your child's healthcare provider to have a lead exposure screening done to determine whether blood lead testing is needed. A blood lead test is the only definitive way to find out if your child has been exposed to lead. Many children with elevated levels of lead in their blood may have no obvious symptoms. The Army is committed to providing a safe and secure environment on all installations. and to providing the highest quality of care to service members, their families, and all those entrusted to their care. The Army will continue to inform and educate soldiers and their families about the concerns and health impacts of lead, what resources are available, and how to report potential lead exposure situations. For additional information, contact your property manager, your local medical treatment facility preventive medicine department, or the Installation Directorate of Public Works Environmental Division. Thank you for your time.